Hi everybody, it's guys, we're back here. So I just got done with cleaning and I'm a little bored here, so what we're going to do is do a little bit of follow along of building a level. So I've already got the test level here, but what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and hit File and Save As, and we're going to create ourselves a copy, and we're going to let's see, what levels do we even have to work on before I even save this so I can name it and maybe reuse it for later. So the idea though is I just kind of want to experiment and actually get into doing, I don't know, something that can be perceived as a normal level. As I still have a few things to figure out. One of the main things I need to figure out is how big do I want to make these levels actually to be. As I don't want to make them too small, and I don't want to make them too big. Kind of like that Goldilocks zone where you're right in the middle, but there's also other things to figure out, like how wide to make corridors and everything. And so let's go ahead and go into our mission folder. And we have a few missions actually built out that are designed. We have a lot of missions still need to be designed, and I think either mission 3 or 4 would be a good design. Let's go and open up 3. So 3, I mean, this looks horrible, but this is a design of a level. And it means we got a lot of stuff we gotta figure out how to do. So this is going to be, I don't want to call it a desert map. Let's actually see if we can find some images here. So it'd be a good idea to figure out what we're going to aim for before we actually build a level. And I'll say, yeah, we'll just go do this. So we'll call this mission number 3. And what we're going to do is we need to reset the level, but we're going to go, and as soon as we get a free get reset, so we need to delete the tank yard, this. Basically, I want to delete everything but the grid. And that'll get rid of all of our tanks over here. Get rid of our test mobs. We want to leave our data system alone because we have some UI stuff that we need to make sure is there. And we want to go into our grids, and we just want to reset. Reset. I'm going to have to reset that back to my shader. Ignore the fact that my shader is like not named whatsoever. They really need to add a way to clear the data off of a map without like resetting the entire component. Because I know the data is stored on this render. I think it is. Actually, I wonder if it's stored on this. How can you reset this? Okay, that'll work. So maybe I didn't actually reset the ceiling tiles. Yeah, I did not reset the ceiling tiles. Ignore the barking dog in the background. I don't want to remove it, I want to reset it. Okay, that gets rid of my ceiling tiles. And then reset to get rid of my deco tiles. And then reset to get rid of my floor tiles. There we go, we have a blank map. It has nothing on it except for this little dot, which I don't understand why that's there. Maybe that's telling me where the center of these grids are. Yeah, I think it's what that's, wow. Hard to tell what that dot is. I'm kind of curious, but I'm not that curious. Let's go ahead and fill the floor in really quickly with just something, so get our tile palette out, and I'm going to use dirt for the moment. And the tile fill system is a little weird when you first use it. It actually acts like a kind of like a stretchy thing. Let's get a big level going here. We're gonna have to definitely upgrade our grids and stuff. That'll get us a start, so that way we have a level. And when we go over the game view, we have something there. Let me go find my tank real quick because I don't see it in the camera frame. I'm kind of really concerned where it went to. You know what? I probably messed one of my levels up. Tile. It's probably the starting level 80. Maybe flying. Layer tiles. Okay. Probably not floor tiles is right. Which one of these ones I mess up? Maybe flying. These all look right. And why is my tank? Let's hit play real quick and just see if it pops up. I know I'm moving, it's just, I'm not rendering. Strangest thing in the world. Let's disable the world. So yeah, we are there. It's just, I've definitely messed up one of these layers, so I'm not sure which one. Actually, what palette layer were we on? Ah, we were on the ceiling. This is the problem with using the palette system. If you're not paying attention, you can really easily mess yourself up. So you gotta do reset it real quick again. Reset. There we go. And this time, let's make sure I'm running the right palette level. So 4. Unity's not the fastest about doing this thing. What I kind of wish I could do is like do like a pre-fill brush or something and be like, hey, pre-fill up to like 1,000, because we're gonna need a bit here. Yeah, we'll probably need a bit. I don't want to move the stuff over here, by the way, because this is what my UI is. It's how the Unity does its UI. I'm not really happy about this. I really wish this was a different screen that wasn't part of the world space, but it's part of the world space. Okay, so that looks good. We should be able to drive around this. There's no gravity, so I'm not going to fall through the ground if we were missing the ground tile. It just flat out isn't any gravity. So fly around, that's cool. Okay, back to what we were doing though. So we need to figure out what we're going to make this look like. So the concept was, if I can find my Discord chat, is that we're going to build something that has this kind of texture set to it. This is going to be sand, but we don't want to be like just beach sand. We're not looking for beach sand here. We're looking kind of like Nevada or something, with a little bit more wetness to it. So actually, let's bring the ID of this type up here. So let's see, Nevada desert. So we want to see some pictures and stuff. That's a really good one right there. Because that's kind of what I'm looking for. It's a really nice reddish kind of sand. And let's go ahead and I want to go ahead and save this stuff to my concept folder. It's a good idea when you're working on a game, keep a concept folder, that way you have stuff, or actually in this case it's going to be inspiration. You can see like a lot of inspiration stuff in there. So this is what I didn't want though. I didn't want stuff like this, but I do kind of want some mountains that look like this. So I'm going to go ahead and save this picture too. Another reason for actually having this stuff off here, for when we're doing the colors for the tiles, we can actually go through and grab these and actually grab colors from them. I don't think we have to worry about copyright though, because we're not actually using the images themselves, we're just using colors from the images, and we're using the image as a reference. I like that. I'm going to save that just because I like the wreckage. Because we do want to put some wrecked out cars, and I like the way that doors are up there. You don't see cars like this very often. I've seen photos of this one before. It's like an art display in Nevada. Ooh, that's got a nice yellow to it. One of these days I actually want to go visit the desert and go look at all these rocks, because I mean, look at those. Like, those are just absolutely beautifully strange. Ooh, I don't know what this is, but that looks nice, whatever that is. And we're definitely going to save that, because that is just bizarre, whatever that is, and I like bizarre stuff. Okay, less of this though, because this is not what you guys are here for. So we kind of got a concept of what we're looking for. I want to do... Let's do a canyon. Desert canyon, because I know there's a... I forgot how to spell canyon. We're just going to do that, and hopefully Google's got my back. It does have my back. I'm having one of those days where I'm just not remembering at all what I'm doing. I mean, it's like 9 o'clock at night. Haven't slept at all well today. There we go. So, what for this level, when Grogger was explaining it to me, so Grogger's the one that actually did design this. He created this, and I came in and I kind of started asking questions. This is why you see like red lines in here, as I was like, hey, what part of this is the playfield, what part of this is not the playfield? So we wanted to go through that and figure out what we were doing, and he was telling me like, okay, these are crystal shards, because this weird thing with this level, or actually weird thing with the whole entire game, is we have this alien landscape that we want to kind of present. We want to give the player this impression that they're not on Earth, but we want to give them familiarities like they're on Earth. So that's the reason why we're doing like a deserty canyon place, because it's familiar, but then you throw in things that are not familiar, like glass shards sticking up out of the desert, and crystals, and big exotic looking rocks and stuff. Although the Nevada desert looks alien by itself, so I don't think we have to work too hard for that. But we wanted this, so we have this play path. So black lines is where we want the player to go through. These lines right here are just kind of where I was trying to figure out where the collision box is, because we don't want the player driving everywhere. We want this level to be somewhat linear. We don't want to be full on linear, because it just would feel bland. But we do want to make sure the player doesn't loop back on themselves, doesn't get stuck in a lot of dead ends, doesn't have to keep... We don't want a maze, is a good way to put it. So we got this level that's kind of linear. I do want to play with it a little bit, so we'll probably end up playing with this. But we need to figure out how big this is. So somebody suggested to me we want this at least 20 screen links across. So that'll give us a good sense of motion, so we aren't in like a little confined area. Anyways, this is going to be our spawn point. These are kind of where enemies are going to spawn, and to be honest, I don't know why we put enemy spawns in here, because we're not going to pay attention to them whatsoever when we use them. The same thing can be said for Mission 4, which we have designed as well. We have enemy spawns on there, but the reality is when we go to make these levels, this is just a concept. This isn't even a template to work off of, it's just like, hey, this is kind of what we're looking for when to make things. Anyway, so we got the canyon. I'm going to save this one as well. I probably should make a subfolder called This is Concept for Mission 3. Ooh, little wood debris here. I'm going to save this for a different mission. There's another mission we have that's in the desert that has some like debris and stuff that would be cool for. Ooh, what is that? Red Rock Canyon. I'm going to click save on here just so I can find this later. I want to go do some research on this because that looks like it's been melted by acid. That is beautiful and bizarre at the same time. Same with this right here. Of course, that's on the stock photo site. Ooh. Now you're talking about alien landscapes? Right there's one for you. Save image. That would make an amazing alien landscape. So I'm going to have to definitely come back to doing these, but we at least got a concept what we're looking for. So we're looking for canyons and everything else. So we're going to need some tiles to work with. Now, of course, I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time doing tile details, so that we're not going to do that. But we're at least going to need tiles. So we're going to go in here, and I actually want to open this up. I want to open this one up. For those who ask questions why there's pink, I need filler so that the splicing tool will cut it. So we're going to put some filler, or we make some tiles here. So we want something. I'm definitely going to have to redo all these tile sets, so we're not going to worry about it too much. So let's go ahead and duplicate my dirt tile. I'm going to drag it up to the top here because I need to be able to unclip it from the thing. Or it'll drag the entire thing in GIMP. And we're just going to stick it over here. If it's going to snap. The lines and stuff in here are just so I can give an indicator of what parts belong to the tile and what part are bleed over edge. So one of the bugs I have with Unity right now that I haven't bothered to fix because it's not really in my code, it's part of Unity, it's a problem in there. And the only way for me to fix it would be to switch their tile map system out for my own, which I think about doing in the future. But there's bleed over, which what bleed over is that when Unity tries to scale your tiles, it will borrow pixels from adjacent tiles. The problem with that is it will bleed over into a tile next to it that could look completely different. There are ways to fix it, and the one way people like to do is leave gaps between their tiles. This does solve problems, but creates other problems as well, because then you have, and when it goes to bleed over, it bleeds over into nothing, and then you have this gap in your tile. People do fix that in their games by just simply having the tiles overlap each other. Chiaria does this, for example. The way I do it in my game is I just leave a bleed over edge, which is what this little space is right here. And we're going to need to make ourselves a couple more of those. So let me go ahead and do this. So our actual tiles are 64 by 64. And we have 2 pixels of bleed over. And the reason I got 2 pixels is because I actually plan to go maybe back down to 32 by 32, which then will leave us only 1 pixel of bleed over. Anything smaller than that, I'm going to have to like redo the entire tile sheet. So I got this selected. I'm going to do select image guide, new guide from selection, and that'll create me a guide, and then I can then take this and I can just move this right over here. I wanted to make a guide on this one so that way if I put tiles down here I have it, and then we'll repeat the same process. New guide. I can do a guide by percentage, and I think I could make a plugin for this without much problem. I think this is the Python maybe. I'm actually not really sure. Let's do this. I'm just going to colorize this. So I've been basically using this. How this tiles originally came into existence is I tried to use the anvil tile from Minecraft. I scaled it up and everything else. Did not work. Completely deleted that. But then I was like, hey, I kind of still like the way the anvil looked. So then I took a paintbrush and I literally went like this, and then I randomized it again. So to actually get something close to what we want. So we want like a reddish sand. A little higher saturation, bring down the dark. No, we'll bring the brightness up and bring the saturation down. I want it to be red. Let's try a few other things. That'll work. I kind of need something with contrast though. So I like this. But what I want to do is I want to randomize it. So filters, noise, And I'm just going to spread. I don't know a lot about randomization, but I need to do something to it to make it not look like this over here. And that'll be fine. Because what's going to happen when we actually do make this game, and actually do make all the terrain for it, if we keep a tile map, I'm going to make custom tiles in game. So there's a way with Unity that you can individually design your tiles. So right now when you do this, you pretty much actually just drag and drop the tile map in here, and Unity does all the work for you. It makes all your tiles, and it splices them and does all your stuff for you, and you end up with these little tiles that you can select and push and everything. I don't know why it snaps over here when I click tiles. That is something Unity needs to fix. But you can select everything in here. But there's a way, what you can do is you can build these tiles custom and make them have cool logic with them and have shaders and everything. So what I can do with the shader is I can be like, hey, our base color is just a bland yellow. Then we put noise over that, we put some smear over that, then we have some connected textures going on, and have all this cool stuff that then would build me this really nice flowing terrain like you'd see in maybe like the StarCraft games. So StarCraft 1 had a terrain builder that I probably should make a video of just to show off and talk about, where you would put the tiles down and they would automatically connect, update, and randomize for you, so you ended up with something that looked beautiful without having to spend a huge amount of time just manually nitpicking and picking tile and picking tile and picking tile over and over and over again. So anyways, let's go ahead and get back to our tile making. So we got this. That's going to be our canyon wall tile. It doesn't look good, but that's not the point of looking good. So this will be canyon walls, what we'll call this. And we're going to duplicate this layer. And we're going to drag it down, and we need sand. So we need your stereotypical sand in. Why is that bled over the bottom? I guess I just must have took too much pink off the top here. Because I think the green line is our dividing grid. Yeah, so I just took too much pink off the sides. Okay, I was just making sure I wasn't flowing into the next tile. And this is going to be our canyon sand, is what we're going to call this. These names won't reflect over into the actual game engines. So these are just going to be part of the tile set, so I can easily find what all my tiles is and move them and relay them. Let's go ahead and lock these both down so that I can't move them. The only problem with in GIMP, if you lock something down, is you can still move the entire sheet, which is really annoying. I have yet to learn how to lock the sheet, because I want to lock the actual image to prevent me from moving it, because it's annoying. I don't want to move the image. Let's go to here, and we want to colorize this again. It really shouldn't be like repeatedly colorizing, but oh well, that's not going to do it though. And then sand, remove saturation. Nope, that's not going to work. Brightness. Ooh, that gets us something. That's going to look ugly, but hey, we're not looking for pretty here. We're trying to test levels design. So that's the whole goal is level design. And industry would call this block out. Is what we're doing is we're blocking out the level. We're basically using blocks to make a level shape, so that way we can actually design what we're doing. And that's what we're going to kind of do. So it doesn't matter where we really start on this level, because the whole goal of this level design, so we got the level design here. This is going to be an in-between mission. This is a mission that doesn't have importance to the campaign, but you'll have 2 missions before this. You'll be in a city, and then your goal is you're traveling from the city to find something that you need to destroy. And you're going to be traveling and stuff, and we don't want to put a ton of missions between this, even though we could flood you with a ton of small missions, and I might throw a couple in there that are side quests, like it's where you can go and do other missions that are unrelated to the campaign. But this will be the mission you go through to get the next story mission, and it'll be really basic, so the flow and layout and whatever don't really matter. So all we need is the player to start at one point and work their way to another point. So let's go ahead and do stuff. One, we need to export this now. So file, export, get that saved, replace. We don't have to do any slicing at all. This should automatically update. Should update. Yeah, because we got our tile here. Why is this not? Oh, there it goes. It takes a sweet old time to do this. So, we'll have a starting point. And we're going to do our level by sand, because it'll be the easiest way to do this. So we'll have a starting point. And we're going to want to say, like, it's not actually what I wanted to do. Let's go paintbrush. So we want to say go up, around. We'll say there's a big gully there, bit of a trench, and we're just basically making free-flowing levels. There's nothing that needs to be special with this. and we can just take the paint bucket. There's our road. Let's not hover the paint thing over. It's going to probably lag and crash Unity. So we got something. And then what we're going to do is in the very first area, we're going to want to have some kind of ambush going on. Let's build a shape though. I kind of feel like at least we should try. You know, we know for sure this is going to be the bottom of our level now. So let's go ahead and get a wall here. It's not the... I want this down. So let's go ahead and do this. So that'll be the bottom of our level. And we'll say, let's go back to floor here. Say you came out of here. Get a paintbrush here so I can just kind of randomize it. We don't want this to look, we want it to look like something. And for those who are, probably will ask, like, how do you know how to do this? And I'm like, I don't. I'm literally just messing with this. I'm probably going to have to widen this up now, I'm thinking about it, because that's a little too narrow there. The eventual, like, one of the things I want to do with this game is I do actually want to make this multiplayer. But I do still have to design this as if it's a single-player game, because you're going to have a single-player experience with this that then has the option... I just smacked my mic with my hand. Apologies if that was loud. But, yeah, you're going to have a single-player experience that has the option of multiplayer, and I don't know whether or not we're going to do AI companions, because I do want to have it where you find people when you play the campaign that will help you out, that'll give you tanks, that'll give you equipment, that'll come with you and assist you. And if we do that, then this little narrow channel here is a choke point, and this is a choke point as well. So let's go ahead and round this out a little bit. And I probably should be drawing with the wall bits. I'm thinking about it, because then I won't have to come back in here and draw a wall. Because we're going to need a canyon wall here. You know what, I'm going to leave that dirt on the edge because it gives me, like, a walk path. Let's go ahead and get a wall set up, because we're going to need to set the AIs here in a second in order to actually work. The AIs just don't work out of the box. And that's not, has nothing to do with the coding, that just has to do with you have to, like, set up the pathfinding grids and stuff. I wish that stuff worked out of the box, but I'd rather have that stuff cached and manually done, where it doesn't slow the game down, than have it where I don't have to work. That's not what I wanted. I'm going to hit Control Z and that's going to remove all that. There we go. So that gives us a wall. And of course we're going to want to... that's going to... Okay, I'm on the wall there. I'm like, why is it doing that whole thing? There we go. Get that all turned into dirt. So it gives us the start of a level, and let's just close off the other end real quick, and we'll just get to work on doing a little bit of gameplay here, because we're gonna have some gameplay elements we're gonna have to work on. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna have to select the world real quick because I just fumbled and painted some brown tiles here. So that's a really thing I don't really like about the tile map sometimes, is that you'll select something and you'll think you have it selected, and it won't be selected. Okay, so there's our colliders. So we won't be able to get outside the map. Theoretically, I want to make this too thick, because you can kind of push yourself through a one thick wall if you hit it hard enough. And we're going to have some pretty fast vehicles later on, but this isn't going to be a final level anyway, so I'm not going to worry about it right now. Let's go ahead and save this. And now we're going to have to set some spawning. And we're going to set the grids too. So let's go ahead and get the grid inspector open. So what I want to do with the grids is, we had this problem with the test level, is that these took a little bit too long to process. And they also let the AIs get into places I didn't want them to go into. So I think what we're going to do is move this. I think I can arrow move this. I was actually worried I wouldn't be able to arrow move this. Okay, so why is this called depth? It can be height. I don't think it'd even be that much of a pain to rename it. I say that, and then I just realized this is like a library meant for 3D. That's the weird thing about the pathfinding system we use. It's actually more of a 3D library than it is a 2D library, but we get to use it for both. Okay. Let's actually make it taller. I just realized what we can do is have the fight go up a little higher. In theory, what we would do is we'd create some kind of gate mechanic here, so that way the player could not just run past all the enemies, but I really don't care if he does. This will be our grid, and we need to name this thing. Rename. I think that's how you do it. There we go. Fight area 1. So just keep it simple. Yeah, we'll just do circle colliders, diameter 1. This will be basic settings. We're not going to change our settings at all. And do scan. Okay, it's detected collisions. Show surface. There we go. So it would not be able to get over here. Why would you turn a position penalty? Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to learn how to actually do a whole bunch of this stuff. So that'll at least keep them in the fight area here. That'll work. And then we need to generate our cache scan. That way the game, when it goes to load, is not slow. I'll have to do definitely toy with that. Though the sad part is you got to pay for the pro version of this to get any of the optimization features, and that includes being able to multi-thread. So right now I only get one thread for my pathfinders, which is really sucky. But good thing I don't have a ton of enemies, or this would be pretty bad. So we're going to need some map objects. We're going to want to make. Yeah, we're creating an empty object, and we don't really need to make sure it's set on our grid. So this will be, we'll go ahead and name this Fight Area 1. And we definitely don't care where it's at, because the only thing this is going to exist for is that I can then drag objects into the arena, and then I can sort them. Think of it as a folder. Kind of actually wish Unity had a folder system, but it does. It recommends just doing this. So let's go ahead and get our objects. Map objects. We could use some destroy barriers. That'll keep the player from running out of this area. We don't need our team manager because we didn't delete anything, which is nice. So we don't have to redo that stuff. We're gonna need some spawn objects, so I'm gonna throw some in here. Let's say, what do we want the player to fight first? Right now we don't really have a collection of entities to really work with, so we're just going to have to do stuff. Let's actually get before I even mess with that, I kind of wanted to get a map object. Did I actually? No, I did not actually save any of my templates for stuff, so we'll have to make a new one. Create empty, drag this up to fight area 1. Now this guy I do want to actually be somewhere reasonable. Let's add a prefab here. Set this to 2. Let's set this right here. This will be fight area 1, or fight trigger. Or no, this will be. Yeah, let's make sure I name these properly. So area trigger is actually the name of the script we're going to apply to this. This would be fight area 1. Because I need to be able to find these when I actually do work with them. And add component area trigger. And then we need to add another component, which would be collider 2D. And what we're going to do with this one is we just really want to detect, is the player moved out of the spawn area and has moved towards this. Theoretically, we'd have a line of sight thing where you wouldn't be able to see in here, which will actually probably work, because by the time the camera gets here, you wouldn't see much over here. So as long as we spawn the objects over here, by the time the player kind of got up to this point, if they were whipping around the corner, the AIs would be waiting for them. I definitely do need to add some line of sight checks to the AIs to make sure that they do not target the player until they can see the player. We can kind of do this, but we're not going to worry about it right now. Let's go ahead and edit the collider. So I want the collider to be like this. I don't really even care if it's centered, to be honest. This is a test level. Just make it big enough that the player can't skip past it. That'll work. his trigger so that way you can't collide with it. Center it just for my sanity. And then that part's good. We're gonna need an action to do with this. And then to go with that, let me go open this back up. I need to scale this up. So this is 34. And this is 12. That way I can see this. The really important thing is like when I click off that, I can still see that on the map, but when I go to game view, I cannot see that. Which is really nice because then I can find these triggers, I can see them in the world, which is incredibly useful. It's the reason I built a really simple script called Scene Viz. I don't know what I'm going to do with this though, because I do want to make sure this isn't included in the final shipped game, because this isn't going to do anything for you because you're not going to be able to see it. Although, maybe I'll do something with it where it actually does render in game if you're in like an editor mode or something. It's not important. What is important is we want to do another script. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to attach my action script directly to the trigger, because what I might have the trigger do is do other things like start music, make a light effect or something else, so we don't want to make attaching a whole bunch of scripts to this. So we're going to make another empty game object. Create empty. We're going to put it over here, and we're going to call this guy spawner fight area 1. And we're going to child all the spawners to this, which is going to be another thing to save ourselves a lot of problems. Speaking of which, where does the first spawner go? There you are. Go ahead, child you to that. And we're going to add a script, spawn action, trigger action spawners. So this is a way we can just drag all of our spawners when we're done into this guy, and we should be able to go from there. So let's get our spawner, and we want to be able to I don't know, do something. And let's actually go back to this. I need to make sure I put a scene viz on here. I'm not going to see him. Make you a different color. And then we'll set this to a 2. That way I can see it. And let's put like that there. And we're going to duplicate this. Let's actually change this. So this will be spawner. We're going to call this turret, because this is going to spawn a turret, which is what the target is. And we're just going to duplicate this a few times. Duplicate. Drag the other side. Duplicate. Duplicate. So that'll give us, I need to make sure I move this one so that way it can shoot. So like fire that way. A little bit right there. That way these guys are not shooting each other. Even though they can't damage each other and the bullets will pass through each other, it'll look a little nicer. So we got the turret spawners. And then we need to spawn like a horde back here, because we want a horde to travel in this way. So let's go ahead and duplicate this guy. Drag him this way. And we're going to call this spawn swarm. If I can spell swarm right today. Spelling is not my strong suit. We're going to change the color of this guy so that we know it's not the same spawner. And then we're going to change this to spawn a spike mob. And then we're just going to duplicate. Now I'm actually going to do Control C so I can get through this a little faster. Because we want like a swarm that you're going to run into. We want to give you something to shoot at. Get that blood flowing. A few stragglers in the back. So that'll work. And then now what we're going to do is select this guy. I'm going to lock it real quick so that way it doesn't deselect when I go to select all these. And then we just drag it up here. Get all of our spawn objects in there. We have our spawn objects. Let's go ahead and save them to make sure. Always save often. That's a very useful thing. And that should work. And then we just need to go back to our trigger here. And then we need to make sure that when we unlock this. And then we drag our trigger in. Or our action for our trigger. And this should work. Now what we could do with this as well is we could create another trigger area in here that goes, okay, count number of mobs that are in the area, which is the thing we could do. And we could say if mob is 0, and then we can have some kind of opening happen over here. But we're not going to do that right now because this is where we're going to probably stop as soon as we test this and see if it's working, and that'll be a good stopping point for this level. And I'll come back, I don't know, with it. I might come back with this level, but we'll see how things go. So we're going to drive forward. I definitely need to work on the camera a lot more. There we go, our guys are spawned. It looks like it spawned 2 of them. Hopefully I didn't mess something up. Wow, I did spawn 2 of each. I wonder if I double triggered the area. Yeah, I need that local avoidance. I don't really know if I want to pay for the pro version though. I may just make it because it's not... I need to make my own custom AIs anyways because I need these guys to not be moving in a straight line. I need them to wiggle waggle. I need them to dodge. Especially the tanks. I want the tanks to be moving sideways. You know how like I'm moving sideways and firing at the same time? I want the enemy tanks to do that. I don't want the enemy tanks to be like doing this and rushing straight forward with all their guns blazing at the enemy because that's not going to be enjoyable. If you can kill the enemy too easily, like look at this. This is kind of boring when you're just shooting the mobs. The mobs are smart. They'll pathfind. Like if we go to the scene view, we can watch these guys pathfind. So if I actually go all the way down here and actually select one that's useful, and let's go run this way. Why are you not? Okay, because I selected the HP. That's what happened. There we go. So we can watch them pathfind. We know they pathfind. I actually got a smoother on this now too, so these are actually pathfinding in a much better arc. The problem is they run into each other, and they have no real way to repulse one another. Which I think a repulsing script might be the easiest way to fix this. They just don't seem to understand that there's another entity there for them to path into. And there we go. They're all dead. And that level's pretty much done. So there's a lot of work that still needs to be done here. I'm gonna have to probably spend days just writing AI scripts. This is where I'm really interested in maybe writing my own A-star Pathfinder because I like this library that I have, but it's not intuitive to use. If we go out of this and actually stare at one of the mobs and drag this guy in here. So in order to use the Pathfinder, I need a seeker script, which this just apparently does the pathfinding for me, or something. Then you have an AI pather, which is the guy who actually walks the path. Now this is the part I'm definitely going to have to replace no matter what. So even if I keep the A-star system that I currently have in place, I'm going to need to redo this one because this is not straightforward. Yeah, we have some dialogue where we can turn off the search and we can turn off the move ability. So I know the search triggers the seeker. That's what it triggers. It repass every so often. It has, you can control the speed, which I really don't want it to do. I really just want this script, like I didn't even want this to do movement. I wanted this to like relay to another script like how to actually move and how to go about stuff. So that's probably what I'll end up doing, is I'll end up actually maybe taking this and turning the movement off of this and just having it do searching for me. It has a rotation, which is kind of like it can be used. It has a slowdown distance, has pick next waypoint. Like, what are these values aren't well explained. You can go read up on them on their website and actually figure it out. But there's nothing here to prevent it from colliding with objects. Maybe if I make... I have an idea. We'll try this really quick before we close the video out. So there's ability to do a dynamic collision object. And this can be checked every so often. I'm going to assume this is in seconds. And I'm also assuming this probably will lag really bad too if I do this. But I want to see what it does, because if I can get away without buying the local avoidance package for this for a while, then that saves me a lot of money, because it's like $100 for the pro version. I mean, I plan to buy it if we ever go publish this game, because having the pro version of a tool that actually you like and enjoy is actually a good idea, because you get extra features. But let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and apply this. I'm just going to leave this guy on the level, because it doesn't really matter if he spawns. I don't know why we're double spawning though. Hold on. Did this not trigger area? Okay, spawn points, cool. Yeah, I was just checking really quick, because I've had this problem with Unity where it'll double put a script on here. Do trigger, that should trigger only once. Is trigger used by effectors. Okay, so this looks fine. Yeah, we're getting double spawns. What? No. I don't even know what that's opening over there. Okay, let's see if they try to avoid each other. Nope, they still collide. Not only do they collide, they seem to stick to each other. Like they're magnetized. I'm not seeing any avoidance. By the way, there's a physics system in this game. The AIs can actually push you. I wouldn't even be so upset if they didn't act like they got stuck. Because they physically act like they're binded to each other. Like if I come push them and I break them apart, they still act like they're stuck to each other. Let me check what the collision box I got on these. Collider 2D. What other colliders can do? Capsule collider. Oh, the circle collider. Let's try this. Let's drag this up here. Yes. Okay. Remove component. Edit. I don't know why this actually will lose your center point. Let's do like 4. That's not bad. Actually, I do need to kind of uncenter it a little bit. Yeah, it'll be fine. Get that there. I hopefully didn't break anything else because... Oh, we need to turn... Why? I'm guessing you can't make something an obstacle if it's also a Pathfinder. So that dynamic script didn't work anyways. I should have noticed that, but my microphone was in the way. Problem with having these big desk mics. So let's see if the circle collider helps, because what could be happening is when it goes to rotate, the corner could be snapping against the other corner, and it could be binding up when it tries to rotate. Definitely have to fix this double spawn issue though. That one's like a problem. Okay, so let's see if you guys collide with each other. Come on, get in the groups. We're seeing an improvement. They still are hitting each other, but they're not binding up as badly. I can live with that. That's a lot better of an improvement. And then I just said that they got stuck on each other right there. So once I get some kind of local avoidance system where they just don't hit each other, that might work. And I think how we can do the local avoidance is using a fixed update. What I can do is I can have them repulse each other if they're within like 0.1 meter of each other. And that might be the simplest solution. I also need to add like an AoE effect to these bullets. Like, especially the big cannon ones have like a small AoE that way you're hitting more than one target at a time. Yeah, look at that, they're all 3 stuck on each other. Yeah, so I think what that's happening as well is the AI, when it goes to move, let's go ahead and drop a couple of these in here. I need to see you to do this, don't I? Let's drag you in here. So when he moves, he passes, and he has to move forward. There isn't much of a rotation to this, and he's always moving forward. So that's another issue that we can look at with kind of fixing this, is if there's something right in front of it. We just put a ray trace. We literally could just put a line that goes, okay, is something in front of you? And have it stop and rotate to get away from the object. Just little simple fixes, because we don't have to make all the scripts complicated, because this is a video game. If the AIs act a little dumb, players will be okay with that. Because I don't want to do these really complicated, because I can make really, really complicated AIs, but then the game might not run well. So it's a trade-off. Anyways, I'll leave you guys here, and we'll be back with more of this, and maybe I'll do a more in-depth understanding of what's going on here.